we're just going to play one more, and then we're going to do this Q&A thing. And it worked last night, and I hope it works again. But if you really are not shy and you think you want to ask a question, now you should be thinking about one. This is that time. So, we'll hopefully get to as many of you as we can, and try not to be too talkative. But yeah, you have 3 minutes, so don't be stressed out. Think about it. You're gonna do fine. I went to see Pee Wee Herman's play, when they did the basically they did a live version of Pee Wee's Playhouse. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Pee Wee's Playhouse. So they got a show together and they decided they were going to do a couple nights in LA, but it sold out so quickly that they moved it to a huge theater. They ended up doing like 30 nights in a row, and you could go and see a live version of Pee Wee's Playhouse. And it was actually quite brilliant, and it was super funny and interesting. And as a kid who grew up watching it, and also a kid, your friend produced it? Oh my God, it was, yeah, right? It was, and did they move it to New York then?
No, they didn't get along.
Oh, I hate that. Well, see, now I'm so relieved that I went and saw it, because there was all these plans. They were going to take it to Broadway, you know, and they were going to do it in New York. And honestly, for any kid that grew up in, you know, the 80s, it was like the best thing ever. So anyway, I went, and it was like crazy, that energy in the theater when I got there. I mean, people were fucking so excited. They had their Pee Wee Herman doll, and I had a Pee Wee Herman doll when I was a kid, and I loved it so much. I was so excited when I got it for Christmas one year that my mom let me open it on Christmas Eve, and then I proceeded to puke all over it that night, because I was just like so, I think the anxiety, like the anticipation of getting it, I was like, you know. In any case, I was so excited in the theater, not quite as excited as the people who still have their doll, but like excited, you know, in that territory of excited somewhere in here. But anyway, the show was awesome. It was super funny. It was great. Your friend did a great job. So afterwards, because I, you know, through an agent that we have, I was able to go to this special thing that they have, which is like basically a Q&A for the audience, but they only have like maybe 100 people that get to go to it, or 50 or something. And I was able to go to it because my friend was like, oh, you know, I can get you a wristband. And I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. So my girlfriend and I went, and we sat, you know, we waited, and like an hour went by. And then he comes out, and he's still in costume, and, but, yeah. And, I mean, my heart started to pound. I mean, I broke out into a cold sweat. I was like, all I could think of was when I puked on the Pee Wee Herman doll. Like, just over and over again, it was playing into my head, like slow motion. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited, and he was just like this close, and he was so funny.
Wait, was he still Pee Wee, or was he still?
No, he's just him. What's his name again? Paul Rubens. He was himself, but dressed as Pee Wee, which was also a fucking trip. I'll tell you right there. But anyway, so we're just like hanging out, and he's just answering questions, which he didn't. He's kind of like us in the sense that like he just needs like one question, and he talks for like 45 minutes, like unprompted. So. Anyway, he told us great stories about, like, I mean, he was so candid. He talked all about, like, everything. You know, all the things you want to know about Pee Wee, like why he got arrested, and like what happened afterwards, but also what it was like to have a children's show but be kind of like a freak and know that all of a sudden your main audience was like 8 years old, but you're like kind of this weird guy, and you're like, oh, this might be a little weird, and like the whole thing. And then he every couple of minutes he'd be like, does anyone have a question? And I would just be like, oh my god, like I would be like, and then someone else would get picked, and the whole time all I wanted to do, of course, was to do the thing that kind of when you're on the other side of it, you don't want people to do. Like, you want people just to get up and be like, so, I want to know what the deeper meaning behind your music really truly is. Like, what dark places do you go to? Tell me about your childhood. But most people just are like, I really love you, I think you're really great, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so there I am sitting on the other side of it, and all I can think of is to stand up and be like, oh my god, you're so great, and I really love you. I puked all over your doll. It went on for an hour.
Did you get up?
So finally he's like, I'm going to take one more question, and I'm like, and he looks past me and he says, you, and it's like the girl behind me, and she stands up and she's like, oh my god, when I was a kid, I got your doll, and I just loved it so much, and I puked all over it, I was so excited. No, that didn't happen. But anyway, I don't know why I didn't ask. I was like terrified. I was like sitting on my hands. I would have rather been beat up than have to like speak in front of a group of people. So, which I know sounds insane, but this is different because you paid me to do it, so that's fine. But in any case, it was one of the most amazing things ever, and the reason why I said that is because if you're feeling nervous, don't.
It almost seems like an invitation to people who are weird to talk.
Well, I will say that it's a really fun part of the show, and so asking great questions is definitely more exciting for the whole audience. Like, I will say we've done about 10 of these now, and when people get up and are just like, oh my god! Like, people are in the audience are like, oh my god. We think it's kind of funny, but you might get lynched.
So guys, don't ask bad questions.
Yeah. No pressure. That was a weird way to end it. I really ended on a high note.
No, this is for people who weren't as into Pee-wee and were more like into Care Bears. I don't know.